Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Freeze hanging out in the Deceptor Lab. And today, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about another one of my bots. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I started a series of underrated bots, and I said that I was going to go through to each class eventually. And so today, I want to look at the Triple Changer class and put one of my underrated bots for that particular class. And I also want to talk a little bit about the state of the channel real quick. So got some good news coming forward, and then I'll talk to you about that special class bot, that triple changer class bot. So just give me a minute to set up, and I will be right back. All right, and we're back. And so, probably can tell now, looking at my screen, that the triple changer that I'm going to look at is going to be Double Dealer. So let's take a look at him real quick, and let's take a look at what he can do. And so, I'm just looking around a little bit. I'll start off with his special ability. Now I'm going to play around with the power cores a little bit, probably, maybe a little bit with some suggestions for the combat bot. But one thing I do like about him is I like that special ability for certain situations. I'm not going to say this is like an iconic bot, but I don't think that the value that people are rating him as appropriately or see him for the value that he actually has. And so one of his abilities, Toxic Mission, and I got it up there at level 10. I'm on the test server right now, so this is what I put him at on the test server. And it says toxic fumes reduce your enemy's normal attack range by 50%. So for me, that's already a good thing, because if you use this anywhere, in, kind of like in the shorter ranges, you can, or even in the longer ranges, you can try to go protect your team a little bit. And you can also shoot acid balls, and it'll be, in this case, at level 10. I got him at level 58 to overall, so 1,048 damage to the target over 15 seconds. So that's a long time for him to be up there, because he's going to be flying around dropping those acid balls. And so what I try to do right now, I got Alchemist Prime on him. I might go in later on and use Amalgamist, because he's going to be in this transformation flying around for 15 seconds. So you can try to give him a little bit something back, just to test it out, just to see how it works. Like I tested him out earlier with Alchemist. Did pretty good for him in the right conditions. And then the key thing here is you deal more damage to targets that are under fire. And so what I did, when you go back and you look at this team that I built, I tried to go put in some options that were going to take advantage of the fire, mainly with Brawl. What I got him with his G1 core. And if you guys been watching my channel, right now I'm chasing Brawl. And so one of the things that I've been doing for my personal testing is to try to see what combinations I want to use for Brawl, because I got his G1 G metal core, and I also have a maxed out volatile mixture. So for the fire damage portion of it, I'm going to use this G1 Brawl core to try to get some good combos going with Double Dealer. So that's what I'm looking at. I also bought Kickback along, and let's see what I got him loaded up with. So for Kickback, I've got him. Alright, so since I got multiple gunners, I got him with the artillery force. I also got him with caliber, so I can see if I can try to double down a little bit on some of Double Dealer's damage. And actually, to be honest, when I first started taking an interest a little bit in Double Dealer, it was actually when Skywarp Greer was still making content. He was the one that kind of put me onto that a little bit, because he had just running one of his weekly streams, and I saw him. He was just tearing up huge sections of just bases with Double Dealer, and I was like, hey man, I never realized that he was quite that good. And so he ran a couple or more times with Double Dealer, so I could see it, and I became kind of impressed. So obviously, with him being a triple changer, he's going to have two abilities. And so now he has the ability, since we already explained about the acid part, he can has a fire part also with the incendiary missile. And in this case, at this level, it's going to be 2,096 damage to a small area, and heal for 40% of the damage dealt to targets under acid. So it really makes it kind of advantageous to use both abilities. So you got if you use the acid first and then the fire, then you wind up getting some healing back in return, which is one of the reasons why I said Alchemist Prime, Amalgamous. Now this isn't going to be one of the top pairings, bot wise. There's going to be bots. There's going to be better bots to use this on these power cores. But if you're one of the players that you're limited on options, and particularly like myself, I'm still I'm playing in Prime League right now. I'm still limited on ranged options. This might be one of those things you can do. I'm not saying that I would use Double Dealer in Prime League, but it is one of those bots that I would say, if you in some of the middle tier, the lower tier leagues, and the wars are getting more competitive, maybe it's worth looking at doing some combos until you get the bots that are gonna be of more value bots, more meta bots onto your teams. And so I'm looking at that, and I'm also looking at additionally it sets a large area on fire, 1,135 per target, and that's over 25 seconds. And so here's where that becomes of value, because if you are in a position where you can't really necessarily one shot anything, then this is the time when you want to start looking around and saying, hey man, maybe I should try to wear it down a little bit combo wise first. And so what I'll do is I'll cut out of this screen real quick. I will go to a base trial, and we can take a look at what he does a little bit. Like I said, not saying he's like an iconic bot or anything like that, but I do think he's a little bit undervalued for what he can actually do on your teams. And primarily it's because most of us, myself included, have kind of gone away from damage over time. But one of the things that makes me value Double Dealer a little bit more is that he does have great range. He does have great combo ability that you can use with a multitude of different bots. If you listen to my videos before, if you've been a part of my channel, you know that one of the things that I don't necessarily like is fire damage, just because there's so many different variables. There's so many different I feel like a lot of the elemental attacks are under attack right now. You've got Titan Tech Tree stuff to try to counter them. You've got sometimes war effects to try to counter it a little bit, so on and so forth. But when it's available to you, and in particular, like when I start talking to some of my lower to mid tier players, those are the things you start to look at and say, hey man, this might be able to get me out of a jam here. So what I'll do is I'll actually bring him out over here on this left side, and we'll just take a look at what he can do a little bit. So you're looking at his range right there, just kind of testing him out a little bit. And let's go target the MDS. So I got him up here with Alchemist. He's going to continuously be doing damage. Now here's the thing, he's going to be flying around there for a while, and so like right there I've got those anti-air lasers. And so at a base like this one, it doesn't take anything. He's still going to take quite a bit of damage. So that is one of the drawbacks as for how long he's up there. But what I want to keep my eye on is what happens there with that MDS. Like, it's still, that damage is lasting for a long time. But in this case, this is why I say I didn't necessarily suggest him for the higher leagues, because he took a little bit more than half of the damage off of MDS. Now let's see what he looks like against some other items, some other defenses and buildings. the other thing is, he got lit up. He got lit up pretty easily. Now, granted, right now in the current meta, people aren't necessarily using these anti-air cores. So it might be a little bit of value in that. Like I said, a lot of bots. You have to start being a little bit flexible with base layouts, or you have to be flexible with how you set up your teams, because when you look at base layouts, some things are going to be more given to certain situations. And so a lot of times when we say a bot situational, it depends on what situation you're in. Like I was talking about on one of my previous streams, or on my wish list, one of the ones I was looking at was Lugnut. And for him, even though as powerful as he is, he's going to be one of those bots I'm going to use situationally when I get in another jam, because trying to do the sack strategy, because I would rather use Ramjet and get that additional fire damage from him. That's the one fire damage bot that I really enjoy, is Ramjet. Alright, so this is what I'll do here. I'll put Brawl down at the same time, and I'll put some healers down also. And so I'm gonna go, so I got a auto cannon back here. I'm gonna go for the acid first. And see, he's taking some damage up there. And see, that's really the drawback. He stays up there for so long, up there in the air. But I can also combo off a Brawl with his G1 core. And you can tear that auto cannon right apart. And then he's actually holding his own pretty decent, considering he was like one-on-one with Bruticus there, with some healer support. So he's gonna need a lot of support for him, but and you're gonna have a lot of combo opportunities too. So let's see what I can do with the whole team down there. And I'm really just kind of messing around right now. This is not how I would normally organize my teams. And honestly, like, I'm still doing some work with how I want to set up my base on the test server for Wars. I was waiting on an import from Space Ape. I didn't get my import from Space Ape yet, so I was just looking at a couple of different things to just trying to move some stuff around, and it's not how I wanted my final layout to be. I actually had my layout set up the way I wanted it to on my live server, and I was just kind of waiting on that import that I still hadn't got yet, so I'll probably readdress that later on. Alright, so let's see. I think what I'll do, I'll bring all these guys out here to the right side. Now we'll start off with his fire attack first. And then I'll come back around with the acid. Now you can see when we reverse that a little bit, not only does it do a decent amount of damage, it also keeps his health up there a little bit while he's in the air. Like I said, I'm using that Alchemist Prime core, and that's helping him out a little bit. And one reason why I was going to use Amalgamist, one reason why I didn't, is because I got Amalgamist on my Impactor, because I want him to take up a bunch of that damage. So I use that a lot in my live server. And so yeah, I just bring some of those same tactics that I've learned and bring them up there sometimes on my test account, just to kind of mess around, because I know what's going to work from a combo standpoint. And I also really kind of like Kickback here, just try to rip some of this stuff down faster, and then I'll drop that incendiary in there behind it. And that's not really doing too much damage, still not doing a lot of damage to MDS, so bring in some support bots. But when you look at it, I'm not spending a whole lot of ability points on each one of those abilities, so it's not bad from that aspect either. But yeah, I mean, overall I think he's pretty decent. I just kind of just went in here wild because you can see I'm getting stunned down there by Chromia. I hadn't really put any kind of tactics together for this one, but I just kind of wanted to see what he could do. But now he's already out of there, so I'll just go ahead and back out. So yeah, I want to do a couple more combos with him. Maybe I'll take him out. I'll take him in the battle real quick, see how he does against another base, one that's already actually set up. And so these guys have actually got in zone. Yeah, I actually got him in prime zone. I'm not gonna carry him there because I don't think he's ready for that. I think he'd do pretty well in zone 15 or 14, excuse me. So I'm gonna go into zone 14, and I just try to not drop as many bots. I want to see how he does on his own against some of the zone 14 defenses. Like I said, I'm testing them out as I'm talking to you guys. I did a little bit of testing with them, but all right. So I'm looking down here at the bottom. I got a little bit of defenses clustered. Let's see what I can do against that. So you're starting off. The incendiary is up there. It's got cost 3 ability points. I'm gonna go use the acid for 3. And that's the one part that just really bothers me about him, is that he flies around in circles for so long. So if somebody does have those anti-airs, you're gonna have to try to find a way to get your points back. And so one thing you can do is try to get some healing, either through the use of your healers or through your abilities naturally. But I like him with other ranged options, just so you can kind of amplify a little bit. And right now, I'm kind of conserving some ability points, so I'm gonna run his acid ability again, and hopefully I get up closer enough where I can get in the range for brawl. Yeah, that should do it. But in this particular case, brawl's already got quite a bit of power anyway. But yeah, it's not. And that's the big thing for me, is there's so many. And that's really the big drawback, because he stays in the air so long. But like if you look in this little section right here with that acid, everything's still wearing down. And right now I got the Titan kind of taking over, but like Shock Tower, that's a pretty strong defense. And you give it a couple of quick shots. That's what I really think that acid is good for, is to start the process of wearing down some of those defenses in the back. And then you can also combo with your incendiary missiles. So yeah, if I was really limited on ranged options, he's one of those guys that I would try out. I'm curious, because I didn't test him with Amalgamous. I do want to try that out real quick and see if that makes a little bit of difference, because that'll kind of heal him as he's transformed. Like I said, that's not going to be the absolute best that you can use for that power core, but it would be one of the better ones that you can use for him. So that's what I'm going to do, is swap that out real quick. So let me go into another battle, see if I can do something with his health. So let me look at his stats real quick, because I didn't put him up to level 61 or anything yet like I usually do. So decent health, decent damage, nothing amazing. Like I said, they got him as a 4-star, so that it's decent for what you're getting out of your 4-star. I'll switch him up with Amalgam and see if we can make a bigger impact on his health. Just because he's staying in that alternate mode for so long while he's just flying around in circles with that acid attack. I say, well, let's see if we can get something back just from him being, and see if there's a big difference. And then once we get done with that, that's pretty much all I want to take a look at. And so I'll talk about some of the news that I had for my channel here in a little bit. There's a couple of things I'm excited about. And oh yeah, that's much better. Like he's hardly receiving damage at all. Follow back up with the incendiary missile. That's not bad. His two abilities combined didn't one-shot the beam laser. Well, I guess it would be two shots since he's got two abilities. But it's a really inexpensive ability overall, especially the acid one. So, and it's wearing down these defenses pretty well just off the acid alone. You look at that shock tower there. I'm gonna follow it with some incendiary. And that's the issue with damage over time. Is with damage over time, you gotta wait it out, and you're still under attack while that's happening. But with Amalgamous Core, one of my favorite Prime Cores, you can just, he's gaining health every time I go use that acid ability, and that's a very spammable ability. It's a very spammable ability because with Amalgamous, because he's keeping his health. You can see right now he's right around full health, and he's cleared that whole front section in about a minute. It looks slow, but trust me, with the teams I use, a minute to clear out the front section like that is pretty fast for me and the teams in my team build. But that's they just don't charge you that much. They charge you for incendiary, they do not charge you a whole lot for acid in terms of ability points. So that's a high point for me, and it's one of the reasons why I became interested in using him in one of my videos. And that would be Swoop. I was just about to say I can probably try to avoid some of the outpost bots using this acid. But what I'll do is, while he's under attack, I'll just go ahead and run the acid ability again and just try to keep him alive a little bit longer. So it's a couple of ways that you can just go around the health issue when you use the Amalgamous Prime Core. So Amalgamous Prime Core is the real hero here, more so than his ability. And that acid ability is just so cheap, man. It's just, I can just keep doing this. Granted, I'm running out of time. I'm soloing right now, so it's it's using more time than it's really worth. But think about if you got the support pieces around them, and you go use that as well. Right now I got Trypticon. Trypticon's gonna clear the base, so I'm not really in any danger, and he's just not gonna. Now I finally used too many ability points, so now I got to go on that one-on-one with Swoop. Swoop's obviously got a lot of damage on him, but at this point the damage is done because the Titan's going to take care of the rest of it. And just for insurance, I'll go ahead and use this Death Ray to get the explosion off of it, and that'll take care of the base. So that's in zone 14. So it's some value there if you have limited options. Most of us, once you get to a certain level, you've got a little bit more options, so it's not as necessary for you at the higher levels. But I definitely like him for some of the other teams, especially in the lower to mid-tier levels. So just something to think about. And yeah, man, that's just how I'm looking at it. So let's go back to the lab real quick. And now I've got my Decepticon hat on. That's what I'm calling my thinking cap, because I want to talk about some news, and I want to take my lighting down a little bit because it's looking really bright right there. Alright. And it's still kind of bright, but that's okay. Alright, so just a little bit of good news with the channel this week before we cut out. And the biggest thing for me is I finally hit my 100th subscriber this week. So thanks to you guys for showing me just ongoing support. And lately the videos been getting really good numbers. I got a lot of views. I think, let me go check the stats real quick, but I think my dispatch missing video, that one was like the most popular video that I've had of all time. And so I was kind of surprised. I didn't really think that highly of the video at the time. But yeah, I mean, that one wound up being my most popular of all videos. So thanks to you guys for your support. And so one of the things I want to talk about, because when I first started out, we were talking about, a lot of people wanted me to go do live streaming and everything like that. And I said, well, I tried it once or twice. And I said, well, when you got live streaming, you need to have, a strong following to go live streaming. So what I'm going to start working on, I said I would think about doing it after I got 100 subscribers. The subscribers have been rolling in a lot lately. The views have been rolling in a lot lately. But there's some challenges that come along with being a smaller content creator without as large a following as some of the other creators. And one of the challenges that I can admit to right now is like the day I came on a little bit later than normal, because earlier some of the main content creators started changing their times, and I said I know everybody's going to tune into that. So it's kind of like a catch-22. It's like, hey, I can release content, and I know that I got a loyal following of people that are going to come look at the content. But at the same time, while you want to compete smartly. And so one of the things that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to continue doing my con highlights on Mondays. I haven't decided what time I'm going to release the video, and that'll just give you the opportunity, on a consistent basis. Usually you'll see those con highlights on the Mondays. And what I think I'm going to start doing is every other week, I'm going to start doing a live stream on a specific topic, and that's going to be where you guys can interact with me. And a lot of you guys that see me on Discord and stuff, I'll interact with you guys on Discord and everything like that. But I want to give a chance to answer your questions, and that'll be when I talk about one major topic for the week. Typically I try to do a con highlight, and I try to do one major topic, whether it be the dispatch missions, the cyber pass, whether it be like a major event. And what works out is that Wednesday will be a nice sweet spot where I'm not in the same gaps with some of the big dogs, but at the same time it'll also be one of those time periods where I will also have the newsletter be out. I'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I can kind of, if something's available in playtest, then that'll be a time when I can talk about it, so on and so forth. So all I'm going to need you guys' help with is, if you like the content, first off, like the videos themselves. And when you on your line chats, your Discord chats with your alliance mates and stuff like that, man, share my videos if it's a particular topic that you guys are talking about in your chats, and be like, hey man, Freezius has got a video about that. Man, share that stuff, get more people in here, and we'll have a good time, man. We really will have a good time just when the live streaming starts. Tentatively, I'm planning to start that next Wednesday, so that's what I'm looking at right now. But other than that, thank you tremendously for your support, man. I get a lot of good feedback, and even when I get negative feedback, I don't take it as negative feedback, because I go in there and make changes and try to get better. So that kind of feedback winds up being good feedback too. But so this Wednesday, I don't want to talk too much about it, because I got idea that I'm running in my mind, particularly as we get like about halfway through the year, and we got an anniversary event coming up soon and stuff like that. So I got an idea for this upcoming Wednesday. That will be a regular video or pre-recorded video, but I don't know, what depends. I might go do one of those things where I have a live chat even though it's a pre-recorded video. So I haven't decided yet. Let me get some scripting done for it, and we'll come back to it. But other than that, hey guys, thank you for your support. And like I said, go look into the about section of my channel. That's got all my social media information. I'll also put it in the description of this video, and so you guys can join us in some of the conversations we're having on Discord, as well as I got my social media for Facebook and Instagram up there as well. But other than that, guys, hope you guys had a good Memorial Day weekend, especially for those of you in the United States. And yeah, I'll see you guys out there on the battlefield. Freezius out.